The site is Richmond, Virginia. Rivals meeting again, tipping off for the 96th time. They battled in the Sun Belt for about a decade. Rivals in the Colonial Athletic Association for almost another decade. Now meeting as non-conference rivals. A-10 versus Conference USA, but still VCU and ODU. Hello, everyone. Ahmed Fareed along with John Giannini here to bring you a game that is going to sound a little different at the Siegel Center. Normally rocking at this time, John, but totally different here in 2020.
Well, I've coached a few times at the Siegel Center, and it's over 7,500 people going crazy. One of the best environments in college basketball. Very different today.
So it sounds different. Going to look a little different for the Rams this year. You see they've lost 5 of their 6 leading scorers from last season, accounted for well over half of the team's points last year. 9 freshmen and sophomores on the roster, plus you got 2 transfers. But, John, you do have Bones Hyland, the sophomore guard who poured in 30 points last game. That was a career high.
Hyland has crazy shooting range. As soon as he cuts in the gym, he can make that shot. Old Dominion has to know where he is at all time. You got to have a rule, no threes on Hyland. Got to be all over him. Cannot leave him alone if you're Old Dominion.
At times, he started the game cold from the floor and then ends the game 7 for 12 from beyond the arc in just 23 minutes. Like I mentioned, those 30 points, those were career highs, 17.2 points per game this season for Hason Hyland, who they call Bones. You go over to Old Dominion now, you see Jeff Jones there in his 8th year with the Monarchs. They come into this game 2-1, and we shine the spotlight on their guard as well, Malik Curry, the senior guard out of Wilmington, Delaware.
Yeah, I talked with the coaches who have played against Curry so far this year, and they told me in each case he was the quickest player on the floor. Now, there's a lot of great athletes in this game, but Curry might be the quickest of the quick, and it's going to be on his shoulders to try to beat this intense full-court VCU Havoc man-to-man pressure.
Jeff Jones in his 8th year has got an experienced squad, which you really want in this 2020 year.
Yeah, coaches, again, who have played against Old Dominion have commented not only on their experience, but their physical maturity. They're a bunch of big, strong guys, a good rebounding team, which VCU has struggled at recently. VCU not a great rebounding team. We'll see if that area of the game ends up in Old Dominion's favor.
So we're getting ready to go here in Richmond, Virginia. There are a few spattering of fans in the stands. Not going to be nearly as loud as it normally is. Old Dominion VCU. VCU has played no other school as many times as they have played Old Dominion throughout the years. 51 wins in the series for VCU. Old Dominion will start with the ball. It's Malik Curry, Xavier Green, A.J. Oliver, Reese, and Ezekpe on the court. That's Reese from outside, off the mark.
Curry split that ball screen, split the defense. His quickness showed right away. Got a good shot for Reese.
For VCU, it's Hyland, Vince Williams, Levi Stockard, Corey Douglas, and Ace Baldwin on the court. That's Stockard down low, getting double-teamed. That pass knocked out will stay at this end.
VCU likes to establish the paint early. Stockard is their best low-post scorer. They try to get him a touch early, but the double team by Old Dominion, very effective. A lot of big guys are not comfortable passing out of the post.
Stockard started every game, just playing about 12 minutes a game. That's a 3 for Vince Williams, in and out. Malik Curry going the other way. VCU gets back. Old Dominion will reset. Kalu Ezekpe up top. Not afraid to handle the ball. Takes it to the rim. Blocked by Douglas.
Douglas is a defensive specialist for VCU. Shot blocker, great on ball screen defense, very athletic.
A minute into the game here in Richmond, still looking for our first points. Perhaps comes from the hand of Levi Stockard, but that is off the mark. Rebound Williams, whistle on the court. Got a foul. That'll go against A.J. Oliver.
Yeah, early on, one of the things that's good for Old Dominion is VCU's pressure. I know it's very early on, but Curry's really been very comfortable with the ball. Like I said, split that ball screen defense one time. If Curry can handle this pressure, if this Old Dominion team can do what they've been doing, namely, Old Dominion's only averaging 9 turnovers a game. That's a very elite low number. If they can keep that number down, it's going to be a big factor in this game. VCU, on the other hand, forces 18 turnovers a game, so something's got to give in the turnover battle.
First point of the game comes at the line from Vince Williams, so VCU takes the first lead in this long-standing rivalry. The patented full-court press. Malik Curry gets it across.
Love the Baldwin-Curry matchup at the point guard position.
Ezekpe, who scored 19 against Maryland first game of the season for ODU. 8 on the clock. Driving. Curry, no. Gets his own rebound. Loses it. VCU the other way. That's Hyland. Little stutter step. Working on Ezekpe. As a whistle. And steps. Or is that we got an offensive foul here.
Yep, Stockard, when you post up, you can't stick your arms straight out and wrap them around your defender, which prevents your defender from fighting around and trying to get position. And Stockard just held his man off that time, extending his arms. Can't do it.
Old Dominion against the press. You'll see it early and often for VCU. Team that's known for causing havoc, nicknamed Havoc, creating a lot for the other team. Although Ezekpe down low, got a good look, but off the board, VCU the other way. That's Williams. To Baldwin, left hand, got it.
Baldwin's been an elite assist guy so far this year, almost 6 a game, but he's struggled shooting. That'll be good for his confidence.
VCU with the early 3-0 lead. Old Dominion looking for their first points 2.5 minutes in. Ezekpe thought about it. Gives it up. The first 2 off the mark there for Xavier Green. Bones Hyland, number 5, gives it off. That 3 is too long off the hands of Corey Douglas. So both teams feeling each other out early on at the Siegel Center. Turnover. Back the other way. Ace to Bones for 3. No. Tipped and in. Looks like Vince Williams got a hand on it.
Well, first, Hyland's going to look for that 3 in transition. Secondly, Williams is VCU's most versatile player. He could play the power forward, small forward. He could do a little bit of everything.
Curry to the basket, contested, no. Rebound VCU. Quickly back the other way in transition, and that's a foul. They're going to get A.J. Oliver as Vince Williams did a little stutter step on him.
Right there, Hyland, that's his shot in transition. Then look, no one boxes out Williams. He had a free path right to the rim there. No one goes near him, and you can't go for rebound. You can't get a rebound unless you go for it. Williams makes a good effort, but summer camp defense, Old Dominion has to box out. Can't just let an offensive rebound walk in uncontested for an easy tip-in.
The Rams do so many things so well schooled on the defensive end. And you see on the offensive end there, battling for every loose ball they can. That's a staple of this Mike Rhodes team in his 4th year with the Rams. 13 on the clock. VCU.
The ball screen out high. Jameer Watkins into the game too, and there's Ward right down the lane for the jam, and Jeff Jones needs a timeout. Motioning to Joe Reese here. His team can't get it going on the offensive end and can't stop the Rams at the other end. 7 straight for Mike Rhodes and company as the Rams are firing on all cylinders at home early on.
They're still working some things out, and there's certain things that you can't work out in practice. You've got to go through it in real live time.
Jeff Jones, you could sense his frustration with games getting canceled. Again, one scheduled on Monday against James Madison, canceled. One scheduled for tomorrow in Richmond here at the Siegel Center against George Mason, canceled. They tried to find another opponent for tomorrow to get in another game. Jeff Jones said, we had referees set, chance to televise it set, and it didn't come to fruition. It's dog eat dog in college basketball scheduling right now. Everybody's out for themselves, and another empty trip for ODU, but they do a good job of tightening up defensively. And Ron, in the Rams, everybody talks about the pressure defense. Mike Rhodes will tell you it starts with half-court defense, and theirs has been perfect so far. And it happens again, the intercept there on the cross-court pass.
Because they have a lot of bodies, everyone can go full tilt. let me rephrase it. Because they have a lot of bodies that they're willing to play, everyone can go full tilt defensively. And he said it, he was quite frank with us. He said he tells their recruits, if you're not going to play defense, this is not the place for you. And a lot of people, you're right, they talk about the pressing, they talk about the running and jumping. But to be successful at this level, you have to be able to guard for the entire shot clock in the half court.
ODU offensively right now, 0 for 6 shooting with 4 turnovers. Hyland, sweet moves, and the shot doesn't cooperate. Curry will try to engage the offense now with Baldwin tracking him. And they need to reset the shot clock, I do believe. There's a look at Ace Baldwin, young freshman. Trey Clark will come in to spell him, backup point guard. See some other subs coming on, including Corey Douglas and redshirt senior from Louisville.
Corey Douglas, he's one of those guys, missed the last 4 games last season with an injury. He had a cyst on the bottom of his foot, and the injury bug hit him. He's 100% healthy. He's scoring the ball slightly better. He's looking to shoot the ball a little bit more than he did last year, but his athletic energy and his passion is what excels for this VCU Ram ball club.
Austin Trice on the inside trying to get something going, and foul will be on Hason Ward. Second as a team on VCU, his first. There you look at Trice, 6'7", senior out of Chicago, started his career at Kansas State.
Now look at his patience right here on the low block. He understood the angle, gave the youngster a nice little head and shoulder fake, got him in the air. Now he's at the free throw line. One thing's for certain is that ODU, because of the amount of veterans that they have on their ball club, they're not going to panic being down 7-0 right now. They understand that it's a long game. You have 2 halves to the game. Stay patient, work your offense, execute what coach is trying to say, and chip away at this lead.
Man, it's really not the Monarchs' day. They're a pretty good free throw shooting team. It's 78%, but Trice misfiring on both efforts, and it's still a goose egg on the board for ODU. Ward. Extra pass, Watkins, corner 3, back rim. Monarchs have been getting some easy points in transition in their earlier games, and they get one there on the follow jam from Trice.
Their best offense 3 games in this season has been their transition game. They've been able to get out in transition, get easy baskets, and there have been times when they've sputtered in the half court, but they've excelled so far this season in transition. So they've got to look to push it, but push it smart.
Which is interesting for a Jeff Jones team that can go through a volume of plays. This playbook's pretty big, but this is pretty simple. Go to the rack and then secondary effort.
But what you see here is you see all 5 blue jerseys part of the fast break. It wasn't just 1 or 2 guys. All of the guys were in the frame. And when you have 5 guys running hard on misses, running hard on secondary breaks, it makes it very difficult to guard because usually defensively, someone is slow getting back.
Here's the thing for VCU, Ron. You shut out a team for 5.5 minutes, and you're only up 5 because they haven't been efficient shooting-wise. So the Rams just 3 of 11 from the floor, missing all 5 3-point tries. And now a foul here as Clark was defending.
And that's when we were talking about the patience that the Monarchs have to have. Look, you were down 7-0, but, you know, your opponent, they weren't shooting lights out either. You were playing solid half-court defense. You just have to chip away at it, be consistent, and understand where your strengths are. This is the part of the season, especially early on, where both teams are trying to fill themselves out and see where their strengths are. You can't start to go one-on-one. Stay with your concepts.
Sophomore Jalen Hunter able to navigate his way through the lane, get the lefty layup to go. He's good for about 6 per game, and it's a 1-possession affair. Clark, again, handling the ball with Baldwin on the bench. Gets contact from Curry, and Malik has his first.
You see Hunter coming off the little stagger screen, gives you a head and shoulder fake, eases his way in there, and hits the nice little lefty.
Beautiful work from a guy whose dad, Kenya, played at Duquesne, longtime D1 college hoop assistant, now on staff with Dan Hurley at UConn.
I think his dad, Kenya Hunter, is just a season or two away from being a head coach. He's a longtime assistant, paid his dues, understands the game, can recruit. Just knocking on the door for a head coach job.
Jeff Jones sees his team kind of weathering this storm right now. Despite shooting 22% from the floor, it's a one-point game as Trice attacked hard and gets his second bucket.
The best way to attack a press is attack it to score. And that's one of the ways that you get them to get back on their heels a little bit. But with VCU pressing the Monarchs, that's been their strong suit. They've been a team this season that has gotten out in transition, that has scored very well when they played an up-tempo style.
Douglas able to pick up the loose change and deposit it home. He averages over 5 per contest, shooting close to 60% from the floor. Rams by 3. Cross court. Reese, nice catch. Finger roll offline. Well defended from Douglas.
When you're a pressing ball club, you can't be afraid of giving up some baskets. You can't get out of the press if that's what you're going to do. You see the hard push here by VCU. The backside of the press didn't get back in time, but that's going to happen. You're not going to steal the ball every time you press or get a stop every time. What you're trying to do is wear your opponent down. Hopefully the legs get a little tired late in the game. Green
Jumper and a foul. They'll get a Zikpe for shoving off to get position, trying to battle for the offensive rebound.
Zikpe is one of those guys that if he can stay out of foul trouble, he's just what the doctor ordered for the Monarchs. Big, strong guy on the inside that can score it, that can take hits. Had 19 and 13 rebounds against Maryland, so he's very capable of putting up huge numbers, but he's been in foul trouble a little bit this year, Jason.
6'8", 235, junior from Lawrenceville, Georgia. And ODU started its season. That road loss Ron mentioned at Maryland as the corner 3 is good for Hyland. Then one against William and Mary at Norfolk State. First game action, though, for the Monarchs here in a week and a half. Try to snap a slide in this series. VCU has won 8 of the last 10 and 5 straight at the Siegel Center. Clark got the pick, bobbled, but does finish. Jimmy Clark III goes by Trey, able to score that.
That was an indication of how potentially the press makes you tired in the half court. Not always physically, but mentally. We saw a careless pass. Great job by VCU. Clark shooting the passing lane, converting at the other end.
It was a one-point game. Suddenly the lead stretched back out to 7 by VCU. And another turnover on that play against the Monarchs. Here at the Siegel Center, normally about 7,600 fans inside. COVID capacity is 250. And they're saying if they get 250, which they have, it's another sellout. So it's 155 in a row for the Ravs. Mike Rhodes' team, they're supposed to start their season in Tennessee, but that event got canceled. And like a few hours later, they got a call say, hey, you want to come play in South Dakota this week? So they got a plane, went out there and got 2 wins against Utah State and Memphis, pushed West Virginia for a while. All part of 2020, right, Ron?
Hey, look, you've got to be fluid. You've got to be fluid this season. And Coach was saying that he really felt bad for the guys when the game got canceled, because you build yourself up. It's almost like a boxer getting ready for a fight. You train. Now it's fight night. He said all of a sudden the games got canceled, and the guys just looked so dejected. He said, look, we got to play. Let's get the plane. If we can get there safely, we're going to do it.
Start of practice.
Yep.
They find out Tennessee is off.
Yep.
At the end of practice, they find out that South Dakota is on. He said, Jimmy Martelli, director of basketball operations, on the phone with the plane company going, where are we going? When are we going? How about, can you go tomorrow? And they got it done, went and had a successful trip. And you see Clark knocking down the 3. Good range for him. And this team averaging about 7 triples per game. And Old Dominion, after kind of clawing back, settling down a little bit, suddenly is down double figures. David Struther, transfer from UNC Pembroke, Division II, checking in. Corner look for Hunter is offline.
That's the shot that if Hunter can start to hit that consistently, he adds another dimension to his game. He's a solid defender, can get to the rack. If he can confidently start to nail that outside jumper, his game takes a totally different look.
Part of the issue, top three-point shooter right now in A.J. Oliver and Malik Curry, both with 2 fouls, so some other guys need to step up, and that's Ezekbe who rises up to throw it down.
Ezekbe showing you a little bit of his versatility and why he's got to stay out of foul trouble, because we know he's a beast on the block. That time, he took the big from the wing, got him out of his comfort zone, put the ball on the deck, and got all the way to the basket.
On the baseline, Josh Banks, another of the young up-and-comers for the Rams, freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina. And will go the other way, try to battle for the loose ball.
Ezekbe comes down in transition, and that possession, Stockard just couldn't move the puppies fast enough to stay in front of him. Nice little hesitation, taking it strong to the basket.
Stockard picks up the loose ball foul. That's his second. Each team with 5 fouls in the opening half.
Also checking in is number 2, Mikeal Brown-Jones.
VCU, thanks to some transition work, raising its shooting percentage now to 44% here in the half. Still under 30% for the Monarchs. And the foul there, Mikeal Brown-Jones trying to pressurize the backcourt.
Mikeal that time just got a little anxious, a little late on the rotation. Should have just played it solid. His man had the ball, didn't have to be overzealous because help was coming on the backside with the trap. Again, if you're ODU, at some point, you know, it's like a boxer throwing a jab. You just get tired of seeing that thing in your face, and that's what VCU does with the press. They don't allow you ever to relax mentally because you're trying to figure out, are they going to run and jump this time? Is it a zone full court? Is it man-to-man full court? And then once you get it across the half-court line, now you've got to execute your offense.
Green, jump stop, called for the travel. And that's a player that Jeff Jones really wants to try to get going. Guy 2 years ago shot 40% from long range, but struggling to find his shooting stroke this season.
Look, and also 2 years ago was most outstanding player in the Conference USA tournament. And what happens sometimes is, you know, you have an outstanding year, you start to have these little birds chirp in your ear, and you start to put more pressure on yourself to do more, as opposed to just doing what got you and gave you the success that you had. But when he relaxes and settles into being that secondary scorer or that secondary consistent guy for ODU, he's a tough
Count
match.
it, and the foul for the freshman Josh Banks. Presence of mind to hang and hit, and a chance to add on to it.
Again, sometimes you need just a little bit of luck. He shot that when the clock's winding down. You see it at 1 second on the top of your screen. Bad decision by ODU here on the foul. Right now, make him hit a tough shot. Just contest strong, make him hit a tough shot. That time, David Strother, a little too aggressive on the defensive end.
So big bucket from Banks, who had a career-high 6 early in his collegiate campaign. And the freshman from Charlotte, VCU by 11.
With the pressure and the constant nagging that VCU does defensively, if you're Old Dominion and you're one of the guys that doesn't usually get a lot of minutes, as you see Trice slipping on the backside for the easy deuce, you got to be ready to play, because the pace and the tempo and the possessions in the game is probably going to be double of that of a normal game. So if you're not a guy that plays a lot, stay ready, because your number will be called.
Again, ODU right now, its top 2 scorers with foul issues in Curry and
VCU's averaging 10 steals a game. Already, we just showed you 5 right there, and the first half isn't even over. So if you're Jeff Jones right now, you're like, look, guys, we have to be a lot more solid in the half court. In preparing for this game, one of the keys I thought for Old Dominion was be able to make VCU defend late into the shot clock. They haven't been able to do that so far this game because they've been turning the ball over. Force VCU to guard you. Force them to guard the second, third, fourth option in your sets. Great job so far by Mike Rhodes and VCU guarding in the half court.
Man, 9 of the 19 points for the Rams coming off of those turnovers. That last foul on Xavier Green, his first, but team number 7. So 1-and-1 time for Vince Williams, able to knock down the free throw. Had 15 points in those 2 wins in South Dakota for the Rams against Utah State and Memphis. Short on the second. And a 10-point cushion currently for the home team. Trap. Hunter trying to save, somehow does. Trice. Alphas Palavios, redshirt junior from Greece, getting some action here in the first half.
Again, I touched on earlier, the bench is going to play if you're Old Dominion because of the pace of this game and because of how many bodies VCU throws at you. It, in turn, makes you fatigue as well.
And again, Curry, Oliver, early foul trouble, each with 2. And Jeff Jones, at this juncture, not risking putting them back in here. As you see the slip from Brown-Jones for the easy hoop.
That's the same play we saw earlier that Jeff Jones went crazy at. A lot of action on one side, misdirection on the other side. Weak side help has to come over and be present for all of those slips. If not to stop him, to slow him down just a little bit. The other thing is we're not seeing enough pressure on the ball. These passes are being made far too easily so far this game for layups.
Hunter kicked. Palavios trying to knock down his second triple of the season. Corralled by Brown-Jones. "7'1" Brendan Medley-Bacon seeing some action. Transfer from Coppin State. Kick out and the 3 for Brown-Jones. And everything just fluid right now to perfection on offense for VCU.
Well, what you're seeing is good offense in terms of ball movement and body movement. Right now, Old Dominion is not prohibiting VCU from running any of their action. They're able to reverse the ball. That possession, they threw it inside. The big fella didn't receive much resistance. They threw it back outside to a wide open offensive guy, just taking a uncontested shot at point blank range.
Reese put it up with a baby hook, scrambling for it out of bounds. It belongs to VCU with Reese touching it while he was on the baseline.
Again, look at the ball movement by VCU. Not much resistance. No one's defending passes. Nice slip on the weak side. This time the ball goes inside. The big fella makes a nice little cell move to the middle, but then throws it back out to a wide open teammate, Brown-Jones, just knocking down the 3. The Old Dominion traditionally, from a defensive standpoint, has always been blue collar, very physical. They try to disrupt your cuts to the basket. So far this game, we haven't seen much of that. They've got to tighten that up.
Jeff Jones telling us, when we asked about the season, again, it's only been 3 games. He said so far so good, but a small sample size. And what he's seen today is not going to please him as Hyland launches and lands another 3, 4th of the half for the Rams. Hyland able to deliver a couple of those.
You know what you can't take for granted in a season like this when games have been canceled because of coronavirus. As you see a backdoor cut, excellent play. I thought that possession by ODU is that usually in the preseason you have officials that come out and are able to officiate your practices. The players get accustomed to hearing the whistle. You see good ball movement, good body movement here by VCU again. Hyland sitting wide open over on the left wing. But that now gets taken away from you in terms of your game prep. You know, you're able to play 2 exhibition games. Now that gets taken away. And so now you start the season, and now those games get canceled. So the amount of time that you would really be able to be on the court, to touch your guys, to get your guys prepared, that's been all screwed up. So teams that don't look good early could very well hit their stride later on.
Both coaches talking about the changes and the challenges like everyone is trying to navigate here through this pandemic. You saw Curry with a couple of free throws coming in. Jeff Jones opting to bring him back with the 2 fouls here, latter stages of the half, because, again, so much offensively flows through number 3 in blue. Williams trying to save, can't. ODU will keep it. They'll put 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Look for Old Dominion to try to go to Ezekpe. You know, he's got right now Medley Brown on him, 7'1" junior. Look for Ezekpe to catch the ball on the perimeter and look to try to take advantage of the size advantage that he has this time, because he's only 6'7". I think he can take him off the bounce and get to the rack. There he is right there. Good move, good move. You just knew it was coming, you know, and great recognition, I think, by Jeff Jones to call Ezekbe's number. He understood that there's no way that Melly Baker could stay with him for an entire possession. Right here, you see him isolated at the top of the key. 1-2 dribbles, straight line dribble. Didn't waste a lot of movement, didn't dance with the ball, just went right at him, forced the help to come, and the help was a little late that time for VCU.
Jeff Jones said about Ezekbe, he said, you know, I feel like I've been saying this for a while, that he's a good player if he can just stay on the floor and eliminate the silly fouls. Just one foul for him in the first half. And again, able to get the three-point play.
All aggression isn't always good aggression. And the young fella's got to learn that, because this team really needs him on the floor. We've seen his versatility. We've seen him drive the ball from the wing. We've seen him score the ball on the block. So they need that second consistent guy that can go along with a guy like Malik Curry, who we all know can put up points. They need that other body that's going to be on the floor consistently for them.
And we talked about all the departures for VCU with all 5 starters graduated from last year. Well, top 3 scores were back for ODU as Hyland tries for 3. But remember, one of those guys, Jason Wade, who worked so hard to come back from the torn ACL that he suffered last January, tore his Achilles in practice and is gone for the year. So trying to work without one of the pillars of your squad from a season ago. Hyland on the attack, and that's blocked by Ezekbe. Again, still trying to go through the paces of getting in rotations. And Ron, at this point of the year, you're trying to dial in everything for conference play, but trying to do that in the challenges of having games shifted around. As both these teams look to get ready for the heart of their conference schedules, both starting around the start of the new year.
Jason, I just want to know what it's like one time in my life to jump as high as Ezekbe just did on that block.
The Ron, you know what this building's like. The crowd, the band, the Peppas. The Peppas can't play. They're not there. One of the elite pep bands in the country.
Look, when this place is loud and rocking and sold out as it usually is, I mean, it's deafening. It's hard to call a game here. And you talk about a 6-man advantage. This young roster for the Rams have no idea what it's like. They probably came here on a recruiting trip and saw it, but to be down there on the floor competing with 8,000 people going absolutely nuts for you, it's nothing like it.
And especially in a rivalry like this, again, both programs used to be in the CAA.
Yep.
Of course, proud member of Conference USA is Old Dominion. And VCU in about a decade or so in the Atlantic 10. Used to meet 2 times a year at times. And they had some great battles over the years. You remember 2011, the Final Four run for VCU?
That's right.
They didn't go in as conference champs. They got beat by ODU in the conference final. So there's a lot of storied history between this group and these teams. Hyland off the turnover. That's number 8 for the Monarchs here in the opening half.
What I've been impressed with by VCU is to have such a young ball club, the patience that they've shown offensively. That was a prime example right now. They pushed it. They could have taken a quick shot, but no, they pull it back out. They're making multiple passes. They're not settling for the first open look. I've been really impressed with their savvy offensively to be so young.
Hyland on the take, followed there by Douglas. Ron, is that just because, I mean, they played 6 games. There's not a lot of teams in the country that have gotten in 6 at this point of the year.
No, and that's a huge plus for them, the reps that they've been able to acquire such an early point in this season. But to have a freshman point guard leading your ball club in Ace Baldwin, you know, he's almost at like a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. To play as fluidly as they're playing so far in this game is a testament to these young men being willing to be coached and not, you know, wanting to go off and do their own thing. Because when you have a lot of young guys, a lot of times they want to break off the offensive sets. They want to tell the coach, when in high school I used to be able to do this or do that. These guys appear, especially early on, to be buying in.
Monarchs breaking the press, but still struggling to stabilize things in the front court. They do, but now you see the timers down to 12. Solid look there from Green to find Reese. Even with the shooting struggles, Jeff Jones will tell you, well, Xavier Green is a excellent passer and made the right decision there to find the open man.
And when Reese is knocking down that open three-point shot, they need that because he's going to get open looks. When he's able to stand there and line up and just nail it, it helps the offense flow that much smoother.
Douglas able to get it done in the lane. Give him a half dozen so far in the opening 20. Strother scored over 1,000 points at 3 years at the D2 level, but not able to knock it down from deep. Approaching the final 90-second stretch here of meeting 96 all-time between these Virginia rivals.
Music in my ear.
Oh, lovely cut underneath. Baldwin, who's normally the setup man, able to finish that time. And again, turnover ODU.
Thanks.
And now a travel on Clark. Getting a touch ragged. Latter stages of this opening half. Coming up at the U.S. Bank halftime report. Give you an update on Florida's Keontae Johnson. Strange and sad scene when he collapsed on the court during Florida's game at Florida State earlier today. Also history made in college football and Premier League recap on this weekend, all coming up on the U.S. Bank halftime report. Jimmy Roberts on standby to give you all of that information just ahead. Old Dominion averaging close to 80 per game, held to just 20 so far here in this opening half. Baldwin attacking, and he'll shoot a couple.
You know what's interesting about Baldwin, freshman point guard for VCU, is when I see him, I see a throwback point guard, a guy that doesn't need an awful lot of ball screens to be successful, doesn't mind penetrating and kicking and setting up his teammates until he decides to get going. But to have the assist-to-turnover ratio, like I said, he's knocking on 3-to-1 as a freshman, playing at the pace that VCU plays is an extraordinary feat, especially this early in his career.
Only the second freshman to start a VCU season opener since 2008-2009. No less than 5 assists in any game, averaging close to 6. And Ron, to do that, to have the confidence and be the on-floor leader as a first-year guy, that says a lot about his makeup.
It's tough because what you're doing is not only are you trying to learn your head coach's system, you're then trying to not only learn it, but now be successful in it individually. So he's trying to balance learning the system, running a ball club, being responsible for 4 other guys on the floor, and then also finding a way to be successful himself, which I think is just an incredible feat for a task for a freshman to have to do, and he's handled it masterfully.
Adrian Baldwin Jr. goes by ace on the drive.
I like the half that Reese is putting together for Old Dominion. When I was talking to John Richardson, assistant coach for ODU, of who he thought the X factor was for their ball club this year, he said that guy's name right away. When he gets to going, we take on a totally different look. 5
for Reese as Williams knocks down another 3 for VCU before the break. 9 for Williams. Remember, there was that stretch. Old Dominion didn't score for over 5.5 minutes to begin. They were 0 of 7 at the start. Actually, shooting-wise, they've shot 50% since then, 9 of 18. But the problem, 9 fouls, 9 turnovers, and you never got a sense, Ron, that they got any sort of rhythm or continuity stringing together successful offensive possessions.
That's a great way to put it, Jason. The rhythm or continuity that you want to see, or cadence that you want to see from an offensive standpoint, you just couldn't see it because of the foul trouble, because of the different lineups that Jeff Jones probably doesn't want to play with for extended periods of time. They had to be out there on the floor. And let's see if here in the second half, now that, everything is settled in, you got multiple guys with 2 fouls, no one in major foul trouble. Let's see if they can extend those proper lineups that they want, to see if they can establish some rhythm.
It'll stay VCU ball with 11 on the shot clock. We told you and showed you Malik Curry came back in with the 2 fouls in the first half, ended up playing 14 minutes, but A.J. Oliver only played 4 minutes after 2 fouls. So the leading three-point threat, second leading scorer, averaging 15 per game, starts off this half. We'll see if the Monarchs can get him some early touches.
Look for the Monarchs to be a lot more physical this half if they want to find any success. And that's definitely not the way you do it by giving up offensive rebounds. But for them to get back in this game, their half-court defense has to be a little bit more aggressive than it was.
Third rebound of the game leads to the first bucket for Stockard. And how about that? Ezikpe trying to throw it down, ran into Douglas and took a hard fall. And you hear the officials in the background saying incidental contact, count the bucket.
It was incidental contact, but it was contact. That has to be a foul. You know, watch it. Look right around the shoulder area right there. I mean, something has to be called. You know, they met in the air. No one touched the ball. The contact was incidental, but there was an awful lot of contact on that play.
A lot of contact. Again, the defender did go up straight into that cylinder that the officials have been told to utilize. And again, no foul.
You know what's amazing? When you see a possession like that, and then you'll see a guard dribbling on the perimeter, and you touch his hip, and they call a foul. Like, what gives?
Williams can't get the roll, and Trice able to wrap his arms around it finally. And trying to emphasize freedom of movement for all those players on the perimeter and the cutters as well. Trice, there's a cutting Curry for two, and that's the Old Dominion offense you're used to seeing.
Excellent possession, excellent patience. Everyone in that possession touched the ball at least twice, and it's hard, and that's one of the keys. You know, they have to be able to make VCU defend late in the shot clock. Show a little patience in the half court on O.
Hyland, one of 4 Rams to have threes in the first half, can't get another. Second chance won't fall, and now gifted back as Trice just threw it away.
I think the basketball gods kind of balanced everything out, because I thought that possession, Douglas got fouled on the offensive rebound. But here, good possession here. They tested it. It wasn't there. Cut through. Take a look. It's not there. Ball reversal. Then boom, backdoor. Make VCU prove to you that they can really legitimately defend for 30 seconds of the shot clock, for 18, for 20 seconds of the shot clock, not just for the first part.
Stockard working on Trice. 2 years ago, they were teammates together at Kansas State, so you know they've battled in practice like this. See them working right now against one another in the low post. Williams late in the shot clock, short on the triple try, and ODU try to knife a little deeper into this advantage for the Rams.
Again, another possession where you see Old Dominion trying to make VCU work late in the shot clock.
Cutting inside, and Trice had position.
Ball movement, body movement, it is very difficult to defend that every possession for 20 seconds, for 25 seconds, because mentally, psychologically, guys just don't have the patience to sit down in a defensive stance for the weak side help to stay there for the entire possession.
So Stockard limited to 8 minutes of the first half with a couple of fouls, picks up his third.
And then everyone is happy. When you have ball movement and all 5 guys are touching the ball, all 5 guys feel that they're part of the offense, you know, for some strange reason, it makes you defend just a little bit better, Jason, when you know you're going to touch the ball on the offensive end.
ODU 3 of 3 from the floor to start this second half. Denial there on Curry. Tapped out to Hyland, and Bones has it touched out. And they'll say off his leg, ODU ball.
That was a good call. Good call. Whenever you see a player like Bones not react in a situation like that, he knew the ball went off his leg. Good hard push. You see the swipe, the ball hits his left knee and goes out of bounds. Great job by the officiating crew being all over that one.
Green, skip pass. Curry working on the young freshman point guard Baldwin, and Hason Ward. It'll be on Ace Baldwin his first. And that young man taking on a veteran in Curry right now, asking official Amy Bonner for a clarification on that foul on him.
You know, we've seen VCU this game, Jason, get hit with a little, Old Dominion get hit with a little bit of adversity. Down early, on the road. You know, we're going to see a little bit what they're made of in terms of how they react. Let's see how, when they come now back at VCU, how this young ball club, are they able to weather the storm? Do they start to fall apart? Do they start to bicker with each other?
A couple of free throws good for Curry. Give him 6 points, and it's an 8-2 run to start the half here for the Monarchs. Reese trying to get the steal out high. Ball went off the window and good.
I love this young guy right there. You know, doesn't settle for the long ball, puts the defender on his hip and hits a little floater. Official probably could have called a foul on that play. He is he exceeds his years in terms of maturity, this freshman.
Curry wanted 3, couldn't get it. Williams scrambling for the rebound. They'll get the foul on the Monarchs. It's on Reese, his second.
But, you know, from a coaching standpoint, this is the foul that you don't mind. That's a sin of aggression. He's going after the offensive rebound, trying to get a putback. You don't mind your players committing those kind of fouls. It's the touch fouls around the perimeter that really drive coaches crazy.
Hyland trying to get the roll. And he'll shoot a couple of free throws. Coming out of the break. Timeout here. 44-30 here. A little over 4 minutes into this second half. Again, Old Dominion trying to knife into this. You know, this team has gotten a lot of points in transition to come back, but they've had success maybe kind of grind it a little bit here, what we've seen from the Monarchs in the past to work their way back in it.
And you're going to have to see a little bit more of that as this half goes on. And I think that was a message from Jeff Jones at halftime when you just look at the posture of this game here early in the first half. A little bit more patience by the Monarchs on the offensive end, a little more ball reversal. And that's Monarch basketball, you know, especially in the half court. They make you guard them. You know, Jeff Jones has tons of offensive sets that he likes to run. Let's see if VCU can consistently each and every possession, if the Monarchs don't have an easy basket in transition, if they can guard them in the half court.
Hyland with work from the free throw line. VCU 7 of 11 from the stripe so far in the game. Monarchs are 5 of 7 from the line. Both of these teams at over 15 points per game from the stripe. Down on the ground, Zikpe battling for it. It'll belong here to VCU. Turnover number 11 on the visitors. Hyland from well deep. Thought it might fall, and now Reese hit the deck. They'll get the foul on Ward.
That last shot by Hyland is one of those shots that if you've hit your last 2, coach doesn't mind you taking it. That's the shot that you can get at any point in the shot clock. 3 steps behind the three-point line, you know, early in the shot clock. Let's get a little bit more ball movement. If you took the shot, but you were attacking the basket at that point in the shot clock, head coach says, okay, but that shot by Hyland, he can get that at any time.
And that foul on Ward, his third. He only played 2 minutes in the first half. Remember, he had the big dunk, but 2 quick fouls. And you talk about Hyland, Ron. Last year, league play in the A-10, he shot 46.5% from 3. Williams tangling for the loose ball with Green. Big issue for the Rams last year. The rest of the team in league shot under 30% from 3. That's a big reason why VCU struggled down the stretch, losing 7 of their last 8.
Right, you knew Hyland was going to come to the dance. You know, rookie of the year in the league last year, was that guy that you know you could count on to get you a bucket, especially when you needed it. But in the half court, as we've been talking about with Old Dominion, who was that guy last year that you knew could be consistent? A consistent score for you. Marcus Santos-Silva, the big fellow on the interior, he now was one of those guys that you kind of looked at, but he's gone. He's gone to Texas Tech. This year, They haven't had that much difficulty sputtering in the half court, at least not yet. It's really early. Their transition game has been golden for them. They've been able to get easy baskets. And, when you can't score in the half court, being able to score in transition is a huge, huge necessity.
That loose ball foul on Green and that scramble with Williams deep into the shot clock. 2 on the timer, and hey, no problem, says Trey Clark. Wheels his way for the bucket.
But that's what you love about these young guys here for VCU. They're confident. They understand what they can do. Jimmy Clark, he's an outstanding talent. He plays some backup point, but you can put him off the ball, put him on the wing, let him go nuts from the 2-guard position. This young group, they can attack. They're athletic. And they see it's early, and they haven't been hit with an awful lot of adversity, but they seem to be willing to be coachable. This is just an excellent one-on-one move. And we've talked about the weak side and help side defense. This is a guy that dribbles from one side of the court all the way and shoots a layup on the other. No ball pressure, no containment. And then where's the weak side help? Who's coming over to give your teammates some help?
Last foul on Clark, his second. And for VCU, we talk about this group, 9 freshmen and sophomores in the lineup, and trying to deny Zikpe on the inside. He'll have a couple of free throws coming up. You've got only 2 guys for VCU scoring in double figures, but you've got 9 averaging 5 or more. So they've been able to find offense in a lot of places. And you look at their record, 4-2, and they're a buzzer beater away at Penn State from being 5-1.
And when you are able to have multiple guys put some money in the bank, meaning, they can score the ball, they can, get key offensive rebounds when you want. It doesn't matter, does it have to come from X player or Y player every single night? No. And talking to Coach Rhodes yesterday, he said, we know we have multiple guys on this roster that can play. He said, we're going to do it by committee. One night it may be your night. The next night it may be my night. The third night it may be his night. And that's okay. When you're young, when you're trying to learn on the fly under these difficult situations, you never know. But to have the option to have multiple guys as a coach is what you want.
You like having options. It's always good when you're a coach. On the inside, Hyland.
Let me tell you, one of the most frustrating things as a coach is to want to make a sub, and okay, we need shooting, we need rebounding. You turn around and you go look at your bench, and you turn around, man, I have no options. Mike Rhodes has a few options on this ball club. He's not having that feeling too often, but that's a lonely feeling, and I've had it, and it's not too good.
Well, this holiday season, give the gift of Peacock. With great entertainment, everyone of the flock can enjoy for free. Peacock, the easiest, freest gift that keeps on streaming. Sign up at peacocktv.com now to stream tons of free movies and shows. Bones Hyland's a gift that keeps on giving, too. VCU fans excited to see him continue to blossom again, averaging 17 per game in the early portion of the season. He's in double figures now with 10. Williams adding 9. Zikpe has 8 to pace Old Dominion. Out of bounds. And we'll stay at this end. See if Curry's going to be the trigger man here in the inbounds. 18 left to shoot. Swatted away by Douglas. Retrieved by Reese. And Reese got caught in the air and threw it to Hyland. Turnover 13 against the Monarchs. And what a take by Vince Williams. Confident, aggressive, and successful.
Look, we've seen his versatility this game, and it's just outstanding. I feel so happy for this young man. Finally healthy. His first 3 years, he's just been riddled with injuries. He's in shape. His confidence is high. And he's a matchup problem. He's too big for smaller guards and too agile if you're big and try to put it on him.
Reese able to knock down his second triple of the game, give him 8. But ODU cannot afford to trade buckets at this point. They need some stops with that lead currently at 18 for the Rams. That'll help. Poked away, but that won't. Given right back. And Hyland, dipsy-do, can't get it in. Scooped up by Ward, and free throws forthcoming.
Hyland and Ward, if they had their choice, they'd rather get those two baskets back because they were easy layups that both of them missed. But credit the Rams for staying after it. Offensive rebound, running down loose balls, giving themselves second shot attempts. You know, they didn't hang their head when they had the turnover, the missed basket. They got the steal and came right back. Right here, you see a turnover, but they didn't relax. Hyland gets his hand on the ball, has the jelly roll, finger roll layup that he misses, but then Ward stays after and picks up the offensive rebound. And as a coach, you know, you're frustrated that you turn the ball over, but you're pleased that your team didn't hang their head. They sprinted hard to get back, to force the turnover, to give yourself another opportunity.
Hyland checks out for the moment. Ward at the free throw line, sophomore originally from St. Thomas, Barbados. Time at Springfield Central in Massachusetts. Only been playing organized hoops 4 or 5 years. Continues to grow. Free throw shooting looking solid. 6 of 8 now in the year. That foul on Oliver, his third, against second leading scorer for ODU. He doesn't have a point, Ron. He doesn't even have a shot attempt in this game. They have not been able to get him in the flow as Trice gets the follow bucket.
And you're talking 14, 15 points a game that you usually are accustomed to having that just isn't there so far this game.
Oliver back on the bench. Palavios back out there. Strother returning to. Lob for Ward. And Trice has been active at both ends. 10 points right now to lead the way for ODU. Green. He trying to feather it back for Curry. And we've got a foul. Offensive foul on Green. Everything still flowing VCU's way.
Seeing him healthy right now and in shape, he's able to pull out his bag and go into his bag and show you all that he has. And he's a matchup problem, really. I mean, he can put the ball on the deck, and he can shoot the jumper. And he's got that dirty left. So he throws you off on so many different accords.
Yeah, this VCU team, they can come at you, as Ron alluded to before, with a lot of different pieces in different directions. Brown-Jones, one of those pieces attacking. Preseason, and you understand this, Ron, with the 5 starters graduated and the leading rebounder, Marcus Santos Silver, transferring. They were picked to finish 9th out of 14 in the A-10. Do you think at this point some of those voters would like to recast their ballots?
Well, look, I tell you what, that's been a motivation for Coach Rhodes and this ball club, you know. Look, they've got us ranked at the bottom part of this league. I remember not long ago they were ranked 7th and ended up winning the league. They ended up winning the league. So they've been in this underdog role before, and as hard as they play, they're the kind of ball club that you can try to prepare for it in practice. But I coached for a guy who's a Hall of Famer who just recently passed that said, you can try to prepare for this heat, but it's nothing like that heat when it hits you. And they hit you with an awful lot of heat at times.
And certainly a lot of basketball fans across the country thinking of the memories of your dad, John Thompson, and his recent passing. All of us with our condolences as well. He would kind of like the aggression here from this VCU team, and especially these young guys just kind of flying around. And again, sacrificing for one another. There's a lot of these guys that maybe getting more scores, more time than other places, but right now Mike Rose has them in the right rhythm.
And to be as young as they are and be willing to make that sacrifice. Usually you have young guys and it takes until the end of their sophomore year, junior year before they start to understand the head coach's vision or what the culture is like at a particular institution. These guys appear, and granted, it is early. It's still early. They haven't been hit with an awful lot of adversity, but early on, these guys seem to be accepting everything that man right there is selling.
8th team foul of the half on ODU already, so make matters worse, it's free throws rest of the way for VCU as Ward knocks it down. It's interesting, Mike Rhodes talking about one of the tenets for this team is appreciation. And with everything that's gone on this year, make sure his guys appreciate how lucky they are to be able to just play. Said one of his sons is a high school athlete and crushed because like a lot of kids, he had his football season canceled, basketball season is canceled. So these kids on the floor for VCU, young men for both teams, just appreciating how fortunate they are to be able to continue to play at this point.
Well, in these times, it forces you to kind of reflect and things that you took for granted, the ability to walk through campus and see your classmates and then go to the gym and practice and without having to wash your hands, get sprayed down, wear the mask, just your whole way of living has been altered. And to still be able to play when so many people and so many sports have been canceled is truly a blessing. But it's what the new norm is, as they say. Everyone's had to make adjustments.
Well, last foul. And that scramble on Jameer Watkins, freshman out of Trenton Catholic in New Jersey. It's team number 6 on VCU. So underneath out of bounds here for the Monarchs. Jeff Jones talking about the appreciation of his team too as you see Reese misfiring from long range. Talking about how hard it is. Stockard on the inside, can't get it to go. And the battle here for Trice. He said what we're asking these guys to do right now is not normal. Telling them to not go out, not socialize with others, just kind of their own teammates and keeping things in line. Strother able to rattle down 3. He said they were in a little bit of a bind. They've got to start conference play New Year's weekend. Do you let him go home for Christmas? Do you not? And ultimately, leaders on the team said, look, we're willing to stay at home over Christmas break to make sure if that's what we need to do to have a season, that's what we'll do.
Because if you go home for Christmas break and you're in one of the hot areas, you come back, now you got to quarantine for 14 days, and now you're missing games, and the schedule's all screwed up. So it's definitely a commitment, on both parts. And these circumstances aren't normal. And both coaches talked about how it changes your access to your own guys that you would normally have.
Stockard thought he had the block. Instead, he'll have his 4th personal foul.
Again, Stockard over just a little bit late coming over. Gets him on the left arm, not the right arm. Don't look at the arm that blocked the shot, but look at the arm. He's got him with the body going in. So I like the ball movement, and I like the attack, that possession by Reese. Quietly, Joe Reese has put together a really, really solid basketball game for the Monarchs.
Douglas will come in, and Stockard with the 4 fouls will hit the bench just to tidy up that thought about staying over at Christmas. Jeff Jones said the one request from the guys, we better have good meals on the holiday.
He's like, Coach, if we've got to be here, please feed us well.
And Jeff Jones said, yeah, it'll be great, but they'll have to be in a situation where everybody's spread out, and it's not like your regular holiday table. He said he can envision being in a huge room yelling down to the end, hey, how are the sweet potatoes?
Right.
Again, trying to figure everything out, but being able to compete here during the pandemic. And again, for a lot of these guys, he said it would be so much harder if they weren't able to play. Brown-Jones.
Well, just think, if your whole life has been geared toward doing one thing, you wake up, you work out, you go play, and now all of a sudden it's taken away from you. I mean, just think in our walks of life, just what we've done every day as what we call normal. If all of a sudden it was taken away from you, say, you just can't do it anymore. What now fills that void? You can't go out, you can't, just interact with people the way you once did. The psychological effect of this virus, what it's had on a lot of people, is an aspect of it that can't be undersold.
Great patience there under pressure for ODU to break the press. Trice, the beneficiary, as he drops it home. Give him a dozen on 6 of 7 shooting.
You look at this, they're chipping away. They're down right now, 41-59. If they can get a few stops, that being the Monarchs, if they can get a few stops and get some easy baskets and start to get their rhythm going a little bit, this game could take a totally different direction. A lot of time left.
Foul on the floor before the shot from Josh Banks. Strother trying to track him. That's his fourth. And 10 fouls now on the Monarchs. So the Rams shooting to the rest of the way here with just under 9 minutes left to go. First one good for the freshman. Monday, the big two-night finale of The Voice begins. It's all live, and you decide who wins. Don't miss The Voice finale Monday and Tuesday on NBC. Ezikpe checking back in for Old Dominion.
Jason, I think the early foul trouble that Malik Curry got in early has kind of taken him out of his rhythm a little bit. You know, we're talking about a guy that's scoring 18, 19, 20 points a game, you know, and his ball club looking at him as a guy that we need to score the ball at an efficient clip for us to find success. Hadn't really had the rhythm to the game that the Monarchs, I think, would like to see him have.
And Green trying from deep, followed by Ezikpe. You look shooting-wise from LaFleur. Curry, Green, and Oliver are combined 2 of 11. It's been Reese and Ezikpe that have done the damage. They're shooting 50% combined, 7 of 14. Green trying to find their big man inside. Good denial D from Douglas. And out of bounds, it'll belong to VCU. Turnovers haven't helped either. Make it 16 now against the Monarchs.
You know, and I really believe that a lot of the half court, a lot of the turnovers that the Monarchs have had in the half court is because of the pressure and the constant nagging and the constant jabbing of VCU's full court pressure. It takes a lot out of you in the half court.
Douglas can't get it to fall. Authoritative take, though. Curry. Baldwin had help with the double from Brown-Jones for the moment. Foul line pull up. In and out for Oliver.
Again, good possession, good look. Monarchs just not able to knock. That's the free throw line jumper. After patience, after ball movement. That was a good offensive possession. The shot just didn't fall.
Oliver does have a couple of shots now in the game, but still no points. Douglas kind of shot-putted it, but does get it back.
And that's what drives Jeff Jones crazy, is you're getting outworked on the offensive boards too many times. That time it was one guy surrounded by 3 Monarchs, and he just outworked them for the offensive rebound.
Bones Hyland switching hands for a gorgeous lay-in. He's got a dozen and another timeout taken.
Is a scorer. You want to see that ball go through the basket any way you can. He doesn't just give it to you one way. He doesn't just try to shoot the long ball, which, oh, by the way, he can do that. He can put the ball on the deck. He can get to the basket. He puts pressure on the defense. He's constantly in attack mode. And what I like about his game that he's added this year is he's not just doing it by scoring it. He's getting rebounds. He's getting steals. He doesn't just play offense. He's starting to become a basketball player. And when you become a basketball player, that's when the people at the next level start to look at you. He's not just a guy that you say, oh, he's going to shoot the ball 10, 11, 12 times a game. He's starting to get rebounds. As you see, he's got 6 steals this game. He's being a basketball player.
He's being a pest in this one. He's got 6 of the 10 steals for VCU. And shooting-wise, it hasn't been the cleanest effort. Just 3 of 12 from the floor, 2 of 7 from long range. And you wondered after he hit 6 straight threes on Wednesday, part of that career-high 30-point performance, but the law of averages will straighten out a little bit from distance as Reese goes in relatively uncontested for a bucket.
Well, Reese did a good job, a good smart thing that possession. He saw the mismatch. He saw the 7-footer Medley Bacon on him and just put the ball on the floor and went right around him. Didn't waste time, didn't waste energy.
Medley Bacon now trying to return the favor on Ezikpe, and cleaned up by Brown-Jones. Rebounding here, strong edge for VCU. Make it +9 on the boards.
When you take a look at this game and you look at where we are in the game, 6-minute mark, we'll talk about it on the other side.
Yeah, that previous timeout was a team called when the media one is
look,
here.
You look at this A-10 conference and you start thinking postseason, NCAA tournament. This is a deep ball club. I mean, this is a deep conference. You look at the job. Richmond has gotten out the gates. They're playing lights out. St. Louis, Dayton, the Bonnies, Duquesne, they have it together. They're rolling. VCU, you know they're going to be right there when it's all said and done. This is one of those conferences that the selection committee, they just get to scratching their head when they see them play every year.
Again, VCU with the wins against Utah State, Memphis, Richmond, that one over Kentucky, URI beating Seton Hall, South Florida, St. Louis already taken down LSU. Remember a handful of years ago, 2013, 2014, when the conference had 6 teams make the NCAA tournament. Be curious this year with the scheduling issues trying to get in games and non-conference with the depth that the Atlantic 10 is expected to have, how many of those will get through to March Madness. Fingers crossed that everything keeps going and tracking towards that in the spring.
Look, airball by Bones Hyland aside, you look at the time, you look at the score, and from a coaching perspective, VCU, with their pressure, they're cutting the clock defensively, and they're cutting the clock offensively. So defensively, they pick up full court. It takes you 7-8 seconds to get the ball across half court. Then you've got to run your half court offense. So now the clock's ticking away. Then on the offensive end, if they don't have a fast break, they're patient offensively as well. So if you're the Monarchs, you're starting to think, okay, now we got to start to pick up. We've got to start to maybe do some trapping in the half court to try and get more possession so we can try to get back in this thing as we start to approach the 4-minute mark.
Baldwin surging down again. You talked about it, throwback point guard, pass first point guard, but as he gets into conference more and more, he's going to have to start looking for that shot, and he's got the game to do it. Has hit some threes when needed, and has the confidence and ability to take it to the bucket.
And what's good about him is he doesn't play the game as though he's in competition with the game. You know what I'm saying? Like he allows the game to come to him. He understands that he's responsible for 4 other guys on the floor. If it's transition, if it's an open floor, okay, yes, it's on him, and he takes advantage of it. But in the half court, he doesn't appear to be competing with the other 4 guys on the floor to take a shot. He just takes what's given to him.
Deep in the shot clock, ODU trying to get something done. Green will lob. Zikpe blocked. 3 Ram defenders around him and coughed it up. Hyland eyeing up 3. Got it.
You can't leave a shooter, a scorer, an offensive guy like him that wide open for that long. And after he hit that 3, he's just like, finally. Because by his standards, he struggled today. By his standards.
Yeah, 3 of 9 from long range. Does have 15, but that's half that he authored the other night when he went for a career high. Old Dominion trying to regroup. Turnover, Strother. And the run out here for Curry, and even that's not easy. Hammered by Williams, who goes to help him up. Timeout here, 3:24 left to go. Jeff Jones and his staff still coaching away here on the road, even though it looks like VCU is going to walk home with another victory. And for Jeff Jones, remember, haven't played a game in 10 days, lost a game on Monday, lost another one scheduled for here tomorrow with James Madison and George Mason both shut down coronavirus. Their next remaining scheduled game is Division III Virginia Wesleyan a few days before Christmas before diving into league against FIU down in Miami. Ron, you wonder, will the phones be burning up here to try to get another game maybe scheduled? Who knows here in 2020? But this team just looks like it might need some more game experience.
I mean, I mentioned it earlier that they need more scar tissue, but it's tough. 3 games in the month of December. I mean, you can't build on anything when you can't establish a rhythm of games. But they fall in the category of, if I'm an ACC or Big East ball club, and I need a game or 2. and Old Dominion says, oh, we need some games, let's play, I'm like, I don't really want to play you guys. So they're in that category because they're too tough just for any team to just pick up. But at the same time, they need to get some games under their belt so that they can try to get into a rhythm before they start conference play. Now, they go and they play a Division III team after this game, and then they go right to conference play. You know, you ideally, you'd like to get a few more games in to get some rhythm, to get some cadence, to understand what it's like to be down and then fight your way back, or to be up by a huge lead and then hold on to it. Like all the ebb and flows that go through a season and throughout the course of a game, you really want your guys to have gone through it at some level before you hit conference play. And because of because of COVID, they're just not going to be able to do it. So, you know, they're going to have to learn as on the fly as they go. And the Conference USA team that starts this season, being the Monarchs, is not going to be the same team 8, 9, 10 games in, because they will have been able to get some mileage and to get some reps in. But this team, you have, you know, an outstanding guard play with Malik Curry. You've got an inside presence with Ezekbe. You see a guy like Joe Reese or Xavier Green, who I look at as X-Factor guys who can get going. They have some pieces. They just haven't had the reps.
And again, it's been the bigs that have done the scoring damage as Reese goes strong again. Count that and the foul. The issue is the guards have been non-existent in this game for the most part. Curry's got 8, but 1 of 8 from the floor. Green 1 of 4 shooting. And again, Oliver, who just picked up his 4th foul a little while ago, 0 of 2 and has not gotten in any flow.
And Joe Reese, you know, has had an outstanding game by my standards in terms of being, you know, that other guy that, because Curry has been sputtering, has been able to step up. And Zekpe has had some positive moments during this game as well. But in terms of being consistent on the offensive end from start to finish, Joe Reese has done an outstanding job.
Long 3 thrown down by Jameer Watkins. That's another guy. Haven't called his name a ton, but he is yet another option at the disposal of Mike Rhodes.
You haven't called his name a ton, but in the future you will. He's a super, super talented kid. As time goes on, he's one of those guys that you're going to all of a sudden say, who is this guy that just gave us 15? Who's this guy that just gave us 12? You know, as he gets more reps as being, you know, a young freshman at playing at this level, you're going to see special things from him.
ODU and the hustle from Reese, it's been there all night long. Again, they'll start their conference play coming up around New Year's. 5th in the Conference USA preseason poll are the Monarchs among the 14 teams in that league. Western Kentucky, the preseason number 1. North Texas, the defending champ there, is 2, followed by Marshall and UAB. But certainly the Monarchs have some things to iron out before they get into league. Banks drop down for Ward. Double there, kick out. Ward front rims the triple. Ward able to scoop it. Outlet. Run down and jam. Big time for Watkins. We know his name now.
I hate to say, but I told you. I hate to say, but I told you. Bright. This young man has a bright future. 6'7" forward out of Trenton, New Jersey.
Curry weaving through to get 2. Now for VCU, they're getting ready for one more non-conference game, it seems. Western Carolina coming to the Siegel Center on Tuesday. They were supposed to play Louisiana on Friday, but that game was canceled in the last 48 hours or so. VCU will open up A-10 play Wednesday, December 30th in Philadelphia at St. Joseph's.
Did you see the dish? Did
Yeah.
you see did you see the in and out that led to the dish? 6'7" freshman putting the ball on the floor, setting up his teammates. Look at the floor right now for VCU. 3 freshmen, 2 sophomores. And all of these guys at one point or another throughout the course of this game had an impact. You know, they did what they do. Ward, the big fella in the middle, number 20, he had some tip-ins, had a few block shots. We just saw Jameer Watkins with the in and out. We saw Jimmy Clark earlier hit a long ball and then make a good isolation move on the wing and get to the basket. This VCU ball club, with aging, with some seasoning, is going to be a tough out in the Atlantic 10.
Yeah. Program that's got the second most Atlantic 10 wins since joining the conference in 2012, 2013. Only Dayton has more in that time frame. We understand what the Flyers did last season in the run-up before the shutdown. It'll be another team to keep an eye on. You get into Atlantic 10 play. Here's you see that schedule coming up for the Rams with that cancellation. Trip to LSU as well. Let's not forget that before starting conference play against St. Joseph's. They'll try to match St. Louis, which already beat the Tigers in non-conference action earlier this year. And the Rams gonna just run down the clock at the tail end of this one and celebrate another victory in the rivalry against ODU. Make it 9 of the last 11 and 6 in a row at the Siegel Center for VCU. Mike Rhodes and the Rams all over Jeff Jones and the Monarchs here, 77-54 from Richmond.